All right, guys, looks like we are live. It's only 28 minutes past the time that I said I was going to go live. Sorry about that. Still figuring out the whole live stream type stuff. We're working with wireless mics and trying to get them hooked up. We have a new set of wireless mics. They're just not working well with the phone. So it is what it is. Let me pull up my let me pull up my screen so I can see what everybody's doing. Make sure I'm live. Where is my video?
Yeah, you live.
I know I'm live. There we are. All right, let's bring this up. Spring cleaning expedition. All right. All right, I got my coffee. It is 11:28, and I wanted to. There we go. Ewan, hello. And Rendawa, hello, hello. Robert Garza, hello from Texas. Awesome. Thanks for coming, guys. All right, so I'm just going to take you through. This is my axe project table behind me. And it's been my axe project table for as long as I've had this shop, ever since I started kind of collecting axes, which was years ago. As soon as I moved down here, I got this new table, and I moved this table over here, and I started just putting axe handles and heads and things that I'm going to work on. So I have my whole axe collection. It's up behind you to the right, and that's all the stuff that I finished and put handles on, and they're clean and they're sharp and I use them. Everything behind me is everything that I don't use, and it's all my projects. So it's all things that are in the works. I'm always looking for axes when I'm out and about. So anytime I'm at a flea market or a thrift store, things like that, I'm always looking. That's kind of my primary focus, is trying to find axes. So when I do find them, I put them back here. So it kind of becomes just a catch-all table for my axe projects. And there's a few other things here, but I will be needing this space to put in a new shop tool. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but it is going to be in this space. We're going to be doing an unboxing video later today and talking about that tool and building it and putting it into the shop space. So I need to clean this off. So that's what I'm going to go through today. So I'll just show you guys some of the stuff I have. First are not axes. They're machetes. These are also a tease for a new video that we're working on. We won't talk too much about that right now. Those over there. All right, so anytime that I have an axe that I take off of a handle, I always save the handles, even if they're cracked, because they work for all sorts of great things. I like to do modifications to old half hatchets. Here's one that I've done a modification to. You can see I actually took the hammer pole and I put it in the forge and drew this out into a spike. Took off the nail puller here and just made it into a little bit more of a curved bit on the axe, on the hatchet. And this is kind of a hatchet picaroon. So a picaroon is just a point on the end of a stick that you can use to move around wood. So I want to make a hatcheroon, so that's what that is. But I like to do modifications for these half hatchets. And when I do that, sometimes I'll take an old handle that is broken, like this one that I had to cut off the head. So I took that, cut the head off, and the rest of the handle is really good. And these half hatchets have small eyes, so I could kind of put one on there and have like a nice hatchet handle. So this one obviously would be a longer one because it's a picaroon, hatcheroon, so I'd want it to be something longer so I can move around wood, but smaller hatchets and things can go into these handles. They're just nice handles. I've thought about recently as well doing some type of maybe like knife handles using old handles, especially the carving knives. These are nice oval handles. So I have some handles here, kind of keep them all. Most of them, this is my first handle that I ever made from scratch. This I actually made for my wife for a little hatchet. I can show you that hatchet.
The sound, dust, and check on your chest.
So here's the hatchet that I use. My wife, we actually saw this at a flea market, and I picked this one up for her. She really liked it. It's a nice, small hatchet size, but it's got some good weight to it. So originally this was on this head, this handle. But this broke, so I put it on another one. And this is the same thing. I took an old axe handle and customized it to fit with this hatchet. So I love this. This is my favorite little handle. I love the palm swell on this. Really nice. How's my volume sound, guys? I know I'm not My microphone is here above me, so I'm trying to speak up as I'm going to make sure everybody can hear. All right, Robert Garza, hello. Hi from Hoovelman, Corn Hoovelman. Hey, Corn. Tim Earn, Crafting a Life I Want. Sean, how's it going, buddy? These axes are all for me. Again, like I told you, if you finish your own axe projects, then maybe we'll talk about exchanging some. Hello from the Netherlands. Hello from Vermont. Hi, Betsy. How's it going? Elizabeth Mosley. Good to have you here. Low Crests. It's a belt grinder. Low Crests. It's a good guess. Netherlands, Illinois. Butch Lodgson. Volume's okay. Drifts as you do. All right, that's kind of what I've assumed. So I'll just try to kind of keep my voice going toward the microphone and just keep my voice up. I don't mind. I'm a teacher. I like projecting. Advice on straightening out warped axe blades. Warped axe blades? Not warped handles? You have a warped axe blade? Is it the eye? That's chat nasty. Chat. Let me know. Give me some more information. Hi from 12, North Carolina. How from Texas, Primal Wanderer. Hey, Primal Wanderer, how's it going? Primal Wanderer likes and comments on my videos all the time and also on my Instagram posts, so it's good to see you. I recognize you, so know that if you guys are one of those people who do it a lot, I keep an eye on you. Titanium, howdy from Montana. How's it going out in the Big Sky country? Manitoba, Ian Mostert, good to see you. The front of the blade is warped. Okay, so I'm going to pull a few more of these handles out, and then I'll talk a little bit about what my opinion is on fixing a warped blade. Now, this is a warped handle. I don't know if you can see that. Let's put it up next to a straight handle. There's different stuff you can do for warped handles. So here's a straight handle. This is a store-bought handle, which is real chunky. This is a handle that I got on another axe, but you can see it's real warped. So for warped handles, you can just get some weight on them. You can either, I don't know, like just lean them. If you don't need to use them right away, you could just lean it up against a wall and just let it sit there, and it'll eventually take the curve. Now, obviously, there's not a lot of weight on it, but you could also like take it, put it between two surfaces. If you have somewhere you can do it, and kind of put some ropes on and put a weight on and just let it sit. The weight will just kind of slowly take out of work from a handle. So again, here's, I keep some new handles as well down here. When I go to hardware stores and big box hardware stores, I usually look for axe handles, and I check for grain orientation. So sometimes you can get really nice handles. These are both really nice grain orientation. They both run almost parallel with the way the axe would hang. So when you want grain orientation, I don't know if we'll be able to see this on camera. Grab one that we can see well. Let's see. Well, there's a good one. Okay, let's see if we can see this. Let me show you this. And if you can see the grain. You can kind of see how the grain, you can see that, but you see the grain is running vertically, so it's running parallel with the handle, with the way the blade would be hung. That it typically is the strongest way to hang an axe. So most of the ones I look for when I'm looking for handles at stores and things, I just look for handles that have nice grain. I'm always buying axes, so I'm always looking for new handles, and I also make a bunch of my own handles. So let's move these over here. This was like the first axe handle that I burnt. And I like that one, but as you can see, it broke. I have the axe head over here that it broke off. These. So this is all part of my project table. I'm always, collecting handles. I'll also get handles if I see just handles from stores. I grab them too. This is a nice old vintage handle. I forget which one this came off of. I think it's a Cumberland or something. Oh, it's nice. This is actually kind of a nice handle too. I think this one's had a Collins on it. most of these things I can remember where I got them from. And then I have, let's see. Okay, there's another one. This is a nice one. This was, as you can see, this one had a whole bunch of overstrike. So when you're using the axe, if you mess with the axe and you swing at a piece of wood and the wood's here and you swing and you overstrike and you hit here, or if your axe goes in far enough that you hit on your on the handle, that's called an overstrike. So this looks like it's had quite a bit of overstrike, but it's nice and it's a good axe handle. Again, this is one that I would probably either put something on up here, a smaller boy's axe maybe, and shorten it, or just cut it off and shorten it and use it for a hatchet handle. What's that?
Chat.
Oh, chat. Let's see what we got. Hang a door. Perry Brightenstein is hanging a door. Okay, let's see. Will Crest. Let's see where we are. Scroll down. Okay. Problem Wanderer. Yeah, man. All right. I'm not sure how my heavy axe. The blade is not straight. Okay. Got an axe with a curved blade. Probably just because it's cheap and improper sharpening. If you got room, you can probably fix it by sharpening. That's true. That's good advice from Will Crest. If you can just sharpen that part out, or if you can reprofile it, if you have something that's got a lot of damage to the bit, and I'll show you one that I have that's like that. Let's see. This head has quite a lot of what we call in the business of axes toe jam, which means this is the toe. So the cutting edge is called the bit. The top of it is called the toe, and the bottom of it is called the heel. You also open up that
You can bring it closer.
barn door just a little bit. I'm trying to stay over here so you can hear my voice. So you can see this would have originally been all the way out here. This bit would have come all the way out, and it would have been mostly straight up and down. This usually happens when you hit the ground when you're chopping. So you hit the ground, you chip it, you got to sharpen it, hit the ground again, chip it, sharpen. That's usually what happens with the toe of an axe, which is why this is sharpened so far back. We're back maybe 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches from where it would have originally been. But also, if your edge is too thin and it warps or you chip, just grind it back and sharpen it. Obviously, if you get back this far, you might need to make some adjustments. My plan for this head is actually to chop off some of the top and bring the bottom in a little bit and kind of make just a smaller version of an axe, just a little bit lighter, maybe a boy's axe size. This is a Jersey. This is a Collins Homestead. The weight on this was probably originally a 3.5 pound, but it's not that anymore.
It's a little hard to see because you have a black shirt.
Yeah, gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right.
Got a bunch of hellos. Australia, Croatia.
Is that straight? Hang a door. All right, where are we? Let's go. Ahoy, peoples. Goran Magic. Red Rock, man, that didn't come out right. It's neat seeing all the cool things you do with tools that I can get. Yeah. Great videos. Thanks, Butch Slodson. Good palm swell on that one. Hard to find new ones like that. Yeah, I agree. They are hard. The nice thing about the newer axes that you find, axe handles, is that they're super chunky. They're really thick. So they have a lot of room to cut and shape. I like to do that. Oh, nice. Emrinder Radawa. Just made your first knife. That's awesome. And take advantage of this time we're all at home. Try to get into some new crafts. The new project that I've been working on over the last couple weeks, it's taken a little longer than we wanted to, but with all this, we're kind of dealing with it. I'm learning some new techniques as well. So that's fun. What's up from Australia? Department of Homeland Survival. Nice. All right, Brandon Nelson, hello. Okay, so let's keep going. So I have some more handles here. Those are all of my single bit handles. I also keep double bit handles. So these are both store-bought handles. This one, I think I got from like a yard sale, a guy who was selling a bunch of handles. Looks like it might have had a head on it, but I think I just got that without a head. So double bit handles. This is actually a, let's see that, this one, this is a single bit handle, but a straight handle. So instead of a curved handle, this is a straight handle, but designed specifically for a single bit. I forget which axe I got that came on that. Might have been a big splitter. I had like a 5-pound splitter. Might have been that. I think I kept it. I did, yeah, because I kept it on a straight handle. Let me show you that one. Yep. The big 5-pound Jersey. This is, as far as I can tell, it's not, doesn't have any markings on it, what it is, so just call that a no name. But really big, heavy axe. So it's about 5 1/4 pounds. That was originally on this handle. You can see that matches up perfectly. Look at that. I don't know why I would have cut it off like that, but I did. Oh, I got somebody coming downstairs to visit with us. Hello, honey.
Hi.
This is my wife, Nicole. Where is she? Whoop. Oh, there we are. So let's see. You want to take a look at some of the comments while I'm, or are you just down here?
Well, I was down here because we need to buy a fish filter, so I was going to use my phone to.
Oh, you
the
can.
motor burned out.
Oh, that's fun. Let's see. Your phone is actually here. Why don't you take my phone? Unless you want to take your phone. Oh, your phone's right there. It's out there. It's
Where?
it's right on
Oh, I
the
see
way.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're there yet, we actually can't see it. I don't think.
Which one's attached to your phone?
My wife's phone is. I'm using her hotspot to run the laptop down here. So we're using all sorts of stuff. That's why she came down to get her phone. All right, let's see. Sean says hi, and so does your mom.
No. Hi.
Another bow build. Osmosis 84. Will I be doing another bow build? Absolutely.
Yes.
We are in the process of getting in contact with someone about getting a piece of hickory. I want to do a build with hickory because hickory is a lot, I don't know about a lot easier, but you don't have to go through all the steps of chasing growth rings. You could just kind of take the bark off of hickory and you're ready to use the wood. So I wanted to show how you can do that process. It's a little bit less demanding for a new bow builder. So hopefully get a nice piece of hickory and then we'll do a build with hickory. It'll be another self bow build, so it'll be all one piece. All right, so I got also a bunch of hammer handles and hatchet handles. I like to keep these as well because they make nice, maybe knife handles, or even like, I've used a few things like this, the end of an axe handle for drifts and things, for actually when I'm trying to pop axe head out or a handle off of a head. Got to put something through and hammer it out. So I've used these. I'll just kind of grind them down, use them as drifts. These are all just different hammer heads and little hatchet heads and things that I've kept. Just figure I probably use these. Are all nice grain, so I use them for something. All project wood. All right, so I have a leather sheath. This is my first, one of my first axe sheath I made. That one turned out pretty nice. This is a double bit axe sheath. It actually fits this axe, which I was actually just working yesterday, reseating this on this handle, so it doesn't have a wedge in it yet, but it has, but it's been reseated and it's a nice tight fit right now. So, but I made this. It had come loose because I was throwing it at a target overhand, axe throwing, but it had come loose, so I was reseating it. This is the sheath that I made for it. Works really nice. Protects it. I can't close it right now because all the extra wood above the eye. And that's the reason why I was off of it, because when it had hit, I threw it, and instead of hitting the blade, it hit the end of the handle, and it seated the head really tightly down to the handle and curled a bunch of wood. So I had to take it off and redo it. So that is one of the axe projects that I have over here. That's actually on a handle. This was one of my very first axes that I bought. I think I paid about $40 for this, maybe 45. It's a Lakeside 3.5 or maybe a 3-pound Lakeside double bit. I really like this axe, and it's on a relatively short handle too, which was nice. I didn't know a ton about axes at the time, but I just really thought that it was a cool double bit axe. Yeah, to the top of the eye, it's about 31 inches, so it's a nice like short handle on a full size axe. So I've had this one for a long time. That was the first First double bit I ever bought. Maybe first axe I ever bought. Hang this back up.
DHS says they're using your Forge build video to build their own.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, my buddy actually, Crafting a Life I Want. Let's see, make most of my handles with a draw knife and a coping saw.
Someone was asking how to do it with simple tools.
Ah, yes. I mean, if you're making an axe handle from scratch, it's nice to have a bandsaw, but you can do everything with hand saws just to cut it down. If you can get that basic shape down, then you can kind of start forming it from there. I have a bandsaw. My wife actually called me one day and was like, "There's this great bandsaw on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something that was for sale." A guy had just bought a new bandsaw, so we went over and picked that up from him. It's made a huge difference in everything I do. Bandsaw. I mean, the more tools you can get, the better. You don't need the best tools ever, but my bandsaw is a 12-inch Craftsman bandsaw, and it's amazing. It's done an awesome job. It's made a world of difference. But you can shape everything down from a draw knife. I think my first axe handle I ever made was just from a branch, and that worked really well. That was all shaped just with like hand saws and draw knife and rasp. Let's see. I was talking about something with Crafting Life I Want. He and I built kind of prototype forge together at the same time. We did everything from scratch. We made a burner, and we made a brick forge, just using angle iron. The one that I built, we made a smaller version of a single burner version of it, and then kind of realized that the time and effort and money spent on making our burners could be, we can make buy a much more efficient burner. So I ended up buying 2 burners, which are what on mine, which turned out better. But the whole form, we realized I wanted a little bit bigger, so I made mine a little bit deeper, so it could actually take 2 burners. But he and I built those together at the same time. We built ours together and came up with that prototype. He still uses that on his videos. So if you guys go over and check out Crafting a Life I Want on his YouTube channel, you'll see the prototype that we worked on, we built together. That's the one he uses in the videos. Hey, Vintage Axe Works. Nice. Roy, good to see you, man. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming down, everybody. Roy from Vintage Axe Works. Roy, I just started listening to your podcast, your very first one. I know I'm behind, but I listened to the very first one. It's hilarious. It's exactly what I know you wanted from the Legitimate podcast, and it's great so far. I was probably about half an hour, 40 minutes in. Let's see. Keep referring back to your video. Awesome. Okay, so pulling off a couple more. These are all axes that are on handles that are projects. Ones that are not seated very well in these handles. This actually is a I'm not exactly sure what this is. It's just it's a no name, but it's a really nice felling axe. I wish it wasn't cracked. I don't know if you can see this, but there is a crack running directly down the pole. So it's running straight through the pole here. It turns the corner and runs aside, and it actually goes here and goes inside. I think I put a note kind of on Axe Junkies a while ago, maybe a year ago or so, kind of commenting about it and seeing, what people thought. I have a flux core welder, but I haven't used it yet. I just got it. Well, I got it not too long ago, but I haven't used it. I've never done any welding before, so that's kind of my newest thing. That's one of those things someone asked earlier about, or I was commenting about using this time to learn some new skills. That's definitely something I'm going to be doing while we're home, is playing with that welder and just getting used to it. I know flux core is a little splattery, so that's why I haven't done it down here. I don't want that, like, the splatters to be here in the shop, so I've got to set something up outside so I can try welding. Just try putting a couple pieces of metal together. That's like my next big thing that I want to learn, is like, I can put wood together, I can shape metal, I can forge metal, and so next thing is kind of gluing metal together, which is welding. Once I do that, I feel like the world is my oyster. Oh, you still see Nicole sitting outside.
Oh, I just came back.
Nice.
Let's see.
Bought a handle from Home Depot, cut it down with a handsaw, and we have a rasp. That I think probably wonder if you have a rough rasp, like just a rough, you know, full grit. This is one of my favorite tools for axe making is a half round rasp. So I mean, for all the handle shaping, I do the majority of it with this. All that like, you know, large, like lots of shaping and stuff. Use a half round rasp. You can get inside the curves. Takes a ton of material off, and then once you get down to you know, to your final shape, then you can kind of use, you know, finer rasps or use just sandpaper, things like that to grind to finish it off. But I mean, that's my main tool when I'm doing any handle shaping. Let's see what we got. Okay, so I had the cracked one. So you know, maybe once I play with my welder a little bit more, I'll see what I can do. It's I think a 110 welder, so it's not going to be the strongest welder. I don't know how deep it'll weld into that crack, but maybe I'll give it a shot. I guess it can't hurt. This is a newer axe I got. I was just kind of see if I could find. It doesn't have any marks on it. I kind of like the shape of it though. It's a Dayton pattern. That one, the handle's not. It's got some chips and dried out, and it has, you know, a pretty strong shelf at the bottom of the eye. So I'll have to pull that off. The project. This is a Collins 3.5 pound jersey. It's a nice axe. I really like this one, but it's one of those ones that I just need to pull off, grind it, clean it up, get rid of all the mushrooming on the pole, maybe adjust the bit a little bit, but you know, it doesn't need a ton of work. That one's in nice shape. I just need to put that on. I have a brush axe. This was one that actually Devin behind the camera, he brought over. This is a Kelly Works True Temper. Kelly axes were my first axe loves. I have lots of axe loves now. I think I just love all axes maybe. But this is nice. It's a Kelly Works, has some of the original red paint on it. It's not beautiful, but you know, it might be fun. And I've thought about buying brush axes a few times. They don't hold the same type of draw for me as regular axes do, but it'd be fun. It's kind of a fun project to try cleaning it up. We'll see. That might make it into a video. All right, and this actually, I think, may have been, this may have been the first axe I ever like acquired since I have been an adult. I think I might have had like a hatchet or something when I was a kid, but I don't think I ever, as an adult, I think when I was in grad school, maybe in 2005 or 2006, there was a recycling center. You take your recycling, but they also had this kind of outbuilding. You could just take anything that you didn't think was trash and just drop it off the outbuilding, and people could drive up and take stuff. So it was kind of just like a free trade building that they had shelves on, and there was always somebody there kind of attending it. But they also had a big giant metal scrap pile. That's one of the things that whenever I go to the dump here in Maryland, I'm always like, oh, I want to dig through the scrap pile because I want to, you know, have scraps of stuff to forge with. But they don't allow it here in Maryland, at least not at my local dump. Probably a good thing. But up in New Hampshire, you were able to kind of drive up and take a look at the scrap pile. I found like a really nice old cast iron pan there, and I found this little hatchet. So this is similar to a half hatchet, except for it's like a full, I guess a roofer's hatchet or a framer hatchet. So it has a hammer pole in the end. It's a Braids, which is a British English company. It says Braids 316, made in England. And I had it on a few different handles. My very first handle I ever made, which I mentioned earlier, which was the handle that I made from like a tree branch, I had that on this axe head, and that one obviously broke. So now it's on a little bit longer one. It's kind of tipped back a little bit. Again, this one's been on here for a while, and this was like the first axe mask that I made. So not the best quality ever, but not horrible. Does its job. Protects me from cutting myself. But that one's over there because I don't know. It's still a project. I still need to work on it, clean it up a little bit. All right, let's see what we got. This is kind of fun. I don't know if you guys saw this. I put it down. This is a this is called the George Washington Door Stop by Newton Manufacturing Company, Newton, Iowa, F6. I'm showing you what's on the back. That's on reading. It's here. You can see that. This is funny. It's a little axe doorstop. So you put it on the ground. You can stop the door. It looks like you have an axe in the ground holding your door open. I really wanted to use it here in the shop, but the floor down here is not very level. So coming into my shop, it dips down in, and it doesn't. I mean, it fits under the door, but it doesn't really do anything. But I just think that's really fun. Devin got that for me. Thanks, Dev. I do really like it. It's really cool.
My battery's about to die on my phone.
So we got to plug it in. We have to come down here and use it. I think I moved over there just because the signal wasn't as good.
Or here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just got
There
that.
you go.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, so those are all the handles and all of the full-size axes that are projects on handles. So now we get to some hatchets. I have 5 little hatchets here. World's famous. I think this is a Boy Scout. Similar construction, full metal tang construction. This is a drop. It says drop forge. These are both full metal hatchets. So they have a full metal tang that goes all the way down through a rubber, like a molded rubber handle. These are kind of cool. They feel like they're kind of swept up a little bit too much for me. I don't know. Maybe they're nice. I couldn't just let them go though. I had to pick them up. One of those things that I feel like I might just clean up and maybe try to sell or something. We'll see. So I got 2 of those. I have a Boy Scout from Bridgeport. So that's a little Boy Scout axe. Same thing. This one has an I-beam construction, so there's kind of an I-beam shaped handle that runs all the way through it, and then that has a wood handle on it. This I like a lot better, but this has the Boy Scout logo. I don't know if you can see that there, but there's the Boy Scout logo on it. I have 2 Boy Scout hatchets. That's one of them. Then I have a couple of these as well. I'm not these I'm less. Actually, I have 3 Boy Scout hatchets because I have one here too. This is a True Temper Boy Scouts of America. These like hollow metal handles I'm not really a big fan of, but again, it's hard to turn things up like this as an axe junkie. I just see them, I'm like, oh cool. This one's really cool. These are both True Temper. The one on your left is Jet Rocket BBA. It's kind of cool, and then the one on your right is the Boy Scout. So plenty of little hatchets. Again, these are kind of the ones from like this 80s and stuff where this is the quality of this kind of hollow tube handle. They work, but they're not my favorite.
They're still around.
Yeah, they're still around. I mean, all of these type of things. I just like the idea of being able to use the head, and change out handles and things like that. So when you have a head like this that you can't actually replace a handle, that handle were to break, then there's nothing you can do. So I like the idea of being able to remake things. So this is a really awesome head that I found in an antique store up in Vermont when I was up visiting my in-laws. This is a True Temper Tommy axe. There's number TAF on the back. The numbers that are on these are kind of funky. I haven't been able to find a ton of information about them, but I cleaned up a little bit of the mushrooming. So when you hammer on the back of these with steel or whatever, sometimes the metal will mushroom out because they're designed to be a little softer. Now this one should be harder because it's an actual hammer end, but the back sides of axes are going to be softer because they are designed to be able to flex rather than break and shatter. So your eye is going to be softer most of the time because you want it to be able to warp and change shape instead of crack. Now, you'll usually see a temper line on your axe blade, and that shows you where you have a hardened bit. So it's hardened steel up at the front. That way you can sharpen it and keeps an edge. But this is a really cool little hatchet. This is the original handle on it, although it's kind of cracked up, but it's really nice. It has an octagonal handle at the top and all the way down through about halfway, and then it turns into an oval handle. So octagonal at the top and not at the bottom, which is really nice. So I've hung on to that because I want to recreate that handle, do the same one and do another octagon handle as well. I might make it a little longer though. I like being able to use 2 hands, even if it's just like 18 or 24 inches, something like that. Take my trike out. I need some exercise. Alaska Mike. Nice. Let's see. Been snowed in for a month. Holy cow. Tuesday for us. Chickens in Alaska. Chickens. Let's see what we got. I want to look at some of these. Alaska Mike. How many cases does Alaska have? 150. Okay. It's not too bad. Hello, MS from Germany. Let's see. You might want to try drummeling out the crack a little bit. Yes, that's on that axe head that I was saying that has the crack. When I put that up on Axe Junkies, I got a bunch of good advice, and someone mentioned the same thing. That's something I've learned as well. If you have a crack or you want to weld something together, dremel it out, give yourself a V. So as you have your flat metal, you want to kind of cut down into it in the crack. That way you have some depth. That way when you're doing your weld, it'll kind of go down and further in, and it'll fill up. You can fill up that that V with weld bead, and let that hard weld act more instead of just trying to hit it from the outside. It'll also just go deeper down in. So I have heard that. The problem with that axe is that the crack runs through the eye too, so I'd have to really figure out a way to get inside. I think with like stick welding might be better, so you can actually reach inside a little bit better and weld it. All right, Alaska Mike. All right. All right, let's see, guys. So I have a few more things over here on handles, and then I'll go through some of the axe heads. I have a couple half hatchets. Again, like I said, I like to do these half hatch modifications. Sometimes I'll just reshape the blade a little bit, take out the nail puller. I mean, that to me just seems very utilitarian. So I like to switch those up, pull them out. This one is Briar's Edge. This is one that my dad has had for a really long time, and he gave to me. So if I do redo this one, you can see the bit is back a little bit. I'll probably leave this one. I probably won't do much modification, but I do want to, redo that one and keep it the way it is. And I had this one. This is kind of a nice older one. This is an older Craftsman. I just like this shape. It has a really nice narrow bit, which would be really good as kind of a, like just a bushcrafty hatchet, something that you're working on mostly like trimming limbs and just, not a ton of splitting, but a lot of kind of like wood, just woodcraft. So I would like that one. And I kind of like this hammer pole. It's more traditional rather than ones like this, which are, more specific to half hatchets. This one's a plum Victory, or no, genuine plum. This is one of the newer ones. You can see the bit's a little bit narrower. The older ones are a little bit wider. So I collect them because I get them really cheap. Should get them $2 or $3 around here from yard sales or flea markets. Let's see, I have a few more. These are all this one. Let's see. That one's a no name, so that one will probably turn into a mod. Actually, that one will be a really good mod because it's got a full bit. I like that. This one is a Philadelphia tool company, so that one's probably a little bit older. So that one, we'll see. I don't know. I like doing the modifications, but I also like the history of axes. I don't want to ruin it if I don't have to. This one's another older one, kind of nice shape to it. I just think these would make really nice bushcraft hatchets. All right, so those are my half hatches. Those are most of the projects. So now I have some axe heads, and these are all axe heads that need handles, need to be sharpened and reprofiled. This is a great little diamond edge Shapley diamond edge boy's axe. I got this from a buddy of my father's. Actually did if you saw the video where I redid the German, or no, the US, was it M8 military knife. I did a stacked leather handle. That was I did it for him, and when I gave it to him, he was really appreciative, and we were in his shop and I saw this boy's axe and he gave it to me, so it was really cool. I'm excited about that one. This is a little US American fork and hoe hatchet. It's got some green paint on. I think this is an old military hatchet. That one's kind of cool. So that, I like that one. That one I think will probably be for my daughter. Kind of small hatchet size for my daughter. This is another boy's axe head. This is a man. It says 1 3/4. It's pretty close to that. It's a little bit less. Obviously, as these things get older and they're ground down, they lose a little bit of weight, but it's a nice little man boy's axe. And you see I ground off the pole, cleaned it up, ground a little bit on the face. Dayton pattern. I like that one. Let's see. This is a no name, but it has this is the eye here, and inside the eye there's these called eye ridges. So there's ridges inside the eye, which are there to help hold everything really nice and tight in the eye. So this is probably a Kelly wood slasher, boy's axe. It's funny, for a while I was really looking for boy's axes and I couldn't find them anywhere, and I found my very first one, which I did the video where we charred the handle.
Now we're closer to the camera.
This is the Trojan boy's axe. This is the one that I did. I really like this one. I found this and like, I think it had been a while. I've been looking for a boy's axe just randomly. I prefer not to buy axes online if I can avoid it. Obviously, if I really wanted to find something, I could probably go online and find exactly what I wanted. But part of the fun of, axes is the hunt. I like being at, just searching through places and looking through, and it's like, trying to find stuff, being on a treasure hunt. So when I find them, it makes it that much more exciting. Oh, nice. Will Kress. USN3 video was the first video that he watched. Got me to subscribe. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I got a lot of flack for that video because I didn't do any heat treatment on the blade, and that's because this is a blade that belonged to my father's friend's father. It had gone through a fire at his parents' house, and my father asked me to redo it for him, and I wanted it to have that look and get the handle back on and give it back to him. We bought an original copy of a sheath for it and gave that back to him. I wanted to get it back to that presentation of where it was, how he remembered it. But it's not something he's going to use. It's something that was just a memory from him, from his father, from bringing that back from World War II. So I knew it was something that he wasn't going to use, and I didn't want to run the risk of doing so much work to it that I would damage it. Not that I think I would, but even still, I figured, for what I wanted, it wasn't important for it to be reheat treated and tempered. I mean, it still felt like it had an okay edge, though. So probably not, but yeah. All right, let's see. Yeah, so again, boy's axes. I really like boy's axes, and for a while I was looking for them and I couldn't find them, and then I found that one. And then, like anything, once you start finding things, then you find them. So I found a few more since then, but I really like the size of them. All right, so I'm gonna get into some of these axes I have over here. This is a cool Connecticut style axe that I got when I was up in Vermont. Again, going through antique stores and things, found this one. It's nice, old, rusted, lots of pits and stuff. I ground it off and cleaned everything up, so now I'm polishing up the edge, trying to sharpen that up. That one's gonna be kind of a fun project. It's a little thin through the eye, but I'll just be careful when I'm hanging that.
Yeah, can you put that board back up?
Yeah.
A little light on the edge of as long as it's out of the way, your axis.
No, yeah, that's fine. All right, so this is a Michigan pattern. I'd say probably a Collins Homestead. I can't see any markings on it, but it has the blue Collins coloring. This is also kind of Scandinavian Swedish blue coloring, but I don't think this is a Swedish axe. I could be wrong, but to me it looks more like the Collins Homestead Michigan pattern. I'm not a huge fan of Michigan patterns, so I don't have a lot of them in my kind of finished collection. Here's a Kelly Red Warrior, True Temper Red Warrior Kelly Works. This is a really beautiful Connecticut axe. I got this one at the same time that I got the Collins Legitimus. And this is great. It has some of the original red on it. You can kind of see here. I don't know if you can see that, but it has some red on it. Red inside the words as well. And it's really nice. Unfortunately, it looks like it's been ground back pretty heavily on the toe, so it's got a little bit of a funny shape. But I just need to get on a new handle. I haven't just really found the right handle or the right kind of motivation to work on that one. But that one's one that I really like. This is a made in China What do we got? I think this is 3.5 pound, just made in China. Axe has a little forged China. I don't know if you can see that, but here there's a little circle here and it says forged China. 3.5. My buddy Sean from Crafting a Life, he actually he made me one as well, and I'll show you that one in just a second. This one I actually had on the dark handle. I had this on this one, and that broke. But that was kind of a fun project. I like that one. Let's see. Where is that? There it is. Careful, don't drop axes and things. I have a bounce board up over here to get some light for you guys. So Sean, for my birthday last year, two years ago in January, he made this one for me, and he made this one because I had this larger one, which is a China forged. This also is a forged China 1.5, and I love crows. Crows are my favorite birds. I have a tattoo of a crow feather. I don't know if you guys might have seen that one. I just have an affinity to crows, and they have, kind of relates back to spirituality and my beliefs as a Christian, as well as just my love of nature. So all of those things go into it. I love crows. So he actually did an etching of a crow here in the blade, which is really awesome. I was super happy with it. He put it on this, and it was funny. He actually came over and he was like, "Yeah," he was like looking through my handle stash and asked me if he could take this handle. I was like, "Sure, yeah, no problem. It's a cool handle." And then he gave it back to me with this axe on it. And he also made a little a mask to go on it, which is just great. They both works really nicely. And it did end up coming a little loose. So I put this is my first kind of dowel job. I put a dowel on the end of it, which is kind of cool. I think this is an Osage orange dowel. Still might not work. It's seated a little low. And it's got a little bit of a gap underneath, but it's kind of cool. So you can use metal wedges to tighten up your axes. You can also use dowels. You just drill out a hole and then put in a dowel that's wedge shaped. Let it go in nice and deep, and it'll spread out the wood around it. So those are the China forged. And then I have, let's see, this is actually a little ball peen hammer that I forged out into a hatchet head. We'll see. I need to make a drift for this to get this eye bigger. That's one of those things. I need like I don't know, not really boy's axe. I want to make a boy's axe size drift. I'd like to make full size. I like to do some axe making, but that's a little bit past my ability right now as a blacksmith. I have one double bit over here. This is a Stanley M with an M mark on it. So Stanley double bit. I actually have another Stanley that I've had for a while. That one's on a handle, but it's a nice let's see, where am I looking at? It's over here. There we go. So Stanley, this M, there's a few different things that people think they stand for. But I can't remember right now. Maybe like Mexico, or man is an M stamp. I don't know. It's a nice double bit. It's got so much life in it. It's like almost pristine. There's just barely any material removed from the bit. So that's a really nice double bit. I got to get that one on a handle. Then I have, let's see. Here is, I have a kind of this is a Council Tools. It's nice. They have the pretty deep Council Tool mark on it on one side, and then the USA on the opposite side. It's my only Council Tool axe that I have. The original red and Council Tool mark there, and the original sticker on it too. I don't know if I'm not really a sticker guy, so I may remove that, but it's got some good weight to it. It's a nice long wedge shape, so it'd probably be a really good splitter. So it has a really nice formed eye. Council Tools is one of those companies that is a new company that's still making axes that are just awesome. They do really great axes. Let's see. Hey, Brian House from Housework. Working on handles today. Hear my background. Peace, my brother. Peace, man. Brian House, he and I have been in contact quite often throughout for the last maybe month or two or so. And a little sneak peek, something that he may have reference to is going to be going in this space. So if you want more information on that, go check out Brian House's channel, Housework. He does a really great job. And you might get a little bit more information on what I'm putting in this space and why I'm removing all these axes.
That'll be your next video.
Crows saved Elijah. Yes, they did. Yes, I'm doing an unboxing today. That will be the next video that'll be up on our channel other than this one. No electricity at all. Crazy. Pre-World War II. You ever considered forging your own axe head from scratch? It's difficult to require specialty tools. So John Claris asked me if I've ever considered forging my own axe heads. Absolutely. That's like as soon as I got into axes and as soon as I realized I could do any type of forging, I was like, I want to forge an axe. So I think about doing like just a folded axe with like a rasp, or using a rasp or using old files, doing something like a folded axe around a form. But you have to be able to, your forge has to get up to forge welding heat. My forge I need to do a little bit of work on to get to be able to really bring a lot of steel up to forge welding heat to be able to do that type of wraps, to do like a wrapped axe head, which I want to do. But I also need drift, so I'd have to have a drift to be able to do, take a chunk of steel and run a hole through it to make the eye for the axe. So these are all things that I'd love to do and I will be doing more in the future. But for now, I just don't have the tools or the ability to do all that. So, with everything that we do, all those things are building up to those skills. And 100%, when I can, I'm going to make an axe. Following the half hatchet project. Good candidate. Yeah. Peter Manasco says that he is looking forward to following the half hatchet project. Got a good candidate. Man, decent handle is harder to find than you think. It's true. I don't know, I'd say if you can, make your own handle. Make a drift. Yep, I could make a drift. All right. Thanks, John. So this little one is the Homestead. I showed this earlier. This one has a lot of toe jam. A lot of the toe of the bit has been ground off. That one will need to be shaped, so I'm going to think about doing a modification to that. We got several more back here. Here's another. This is a Craftsman, another Craftsman, 3.5 pound Dayton pattern. That one's got the head inside. I think I just cut the handle off. That one needs some work. That's a really nice head. I like that one a lot. This is another old one. It doesn't have any markings in it, but it kind of has a funky. Here you can say I was kind of talking earlier about how the axes they have a soft body with a hardened bit, so the cutting edge is harder. You can see on this one that there's actually a very definitive line between those two, where the softer material and the harder material come together. I'm not exactly sure what type of axe this is. There's no markings on it as far as I can tell. I've gotten a few different people who have suggested some things. I can't remember what they are at the second, but it's an old one. It's got a lot of life ground out of it, but it's still got plenty of steel in there. It just needs to be put on a handle, played around with. We got here. This is an older Kelly Axe and Tool Company. This is another one that is another Connecticut pattern. I love Connecticut pattern axes, but this one as well has been ground down quite a bit, so that one will need some love. This is kind of a weird one. The only markings that I found on this axe are, it just says, HC India. This is a weird axe head. It's got these like blue phantom bevels cut into it, kind of like an older Kelly Perfect or even like a Collins but it's not. But it's a very wide eye, a narrow bit and a wide eye, which I think would actually work really well for splitting. So this one, I really want to get this one on a handle. It has a really a heavily tapered eye, so the top of the eye is a lot wider than the bottom of the eye, which means when you put the wood in, you put a wedge in, it'll keep that handle inside and it'll spread it out really wide. So I think this would make a really good splitter. It's kind of funky though. I like it. That one will probably be, that one will make a good splitter. Let's see what we got. So I have 3 more axe heads here, all things that'll be in the works. This is another Stanley. This is a Stanley Michigan pattern axe. This is pretty nice. Again, this one and my double, these are both in really good condition. A ton of life left in them. Not a lot of material gone from the bits. So these are both make a really nice pair. I don't know. I feel like they need to be like hung together, maybe do like some type of charring on the handle and make a match. They would be really cool as a set. Then I have, let's see, these are both old, 2 older heads. This one's got some old green paint on it. I can't really tell exactly what it is. These are both Dayton patterns. So Dayton pattern has kind of a gradual open face that has a straight back. There's a bunch of different patterns that are similar to that. In Michigan, when I talk about that, a Michigan has a rounded pole. So usually a Michigan will kind of be rounded on the heel and the toe, and it'll have a rounded pole like this. It's that rounded pole that I'm not a huge fan of. But a Dayton pattern is usually about the same thing as a Michigan, but it has crisper heel and toe and straight edge on the pole. So that one is a no name as far as I can tell. And this one is another old Kelly, Kelly Axe and Toolworks, Charleston. So nice old Dayton Kelly axe head, Dayton pattern. So that, I believe, are all the axes and everything from this table. I have a few more things I'm gonna clean off. Let me just clean off. This is where I usually keep my apron. This has all the welding stuff as well, which I'll be doing. So that'll have to move. Let me just move this over here for now. This table, have to find a new home for that stuff. Maybe just over here. We'll see. Some of this stuff will be able to stay up here. I have all my rafters here, so I get everything hooked up into the rafters. But all right, we got a few more things, just some random boxes. I'll move those. Let's see, looking at the space. Shop toys. Yo-yo, always good to have in the shop. This is a really cool vise. Just a clamp-on vise that I have. I really like this one. I usually keep it over here, and I move it around the shop. It's a really nice heavy vise, cool jaws. Has this nice little anvil space on it with like a pritcher hole in it, so you could actually put tools in there. Pretty nice for a little like blacksmith vise that clamps on. I'd like to get this into a situation where I can use it more often. The nice thing about a tool like this is that you have like a long arm that moves your vise in and out quickly, which is what you need for when you're working with hot steel. When you're doing anything with forging, you want a vise that the jaws can open and close really quickly so you can get your steel in and do what you ever need to do. So that one will stay there for now. All right, and I have just a box of, this is all scraps of steel and old files, all things for blacksmithing. So those all have to get to move. This is a heavy one, a milk crate full of scrap steel, full of chunks of things that I want to play around with. I think that would make fun projects, or just, just bits of stuff that I think that I would, just practicing. I've just picked up a lot of stuff. I actually put out a message on my local next door online website and talked about wanting scrap steel. So I just said, does anybody have scrap steel? I'm like a beginner blacksmith. I want to start playing around with steel. And so I got a decent amount of feedback. Actually, the forge build, the top and the bottom of the forge, those plate steel are actually from a lawn roller that I got from that. So all sorts of fun stuff. But this is all just scrap steel, so this will get moved. I have another bucket of scrap steel on the floor, so it'll probably end up being moved down here. I'll keep that stuff around so I can practice and play and make projects and things, grab my, all right, of course, let's see, where is my dust brush? It's always here. Oh, there it is. All right, so clean this off, finish up. Really appreciate everybody watching and hanging out today. What's the best wood for knife scales? Any wood is the best wood for knife scales. It's a question from Charles Ford. I really like walnut. Walnut just has a really beautiful color to it. But really, any wood can be a knife scale. If you're working with softer wood, then you want to make sure you do some type of stabilization to it. I mean, if it's for you, just glue it up and put it on. You usually want to use hardwoods. I like walnut. I like exotic woods. I've used bubinga and bakodi and wenge. I use lots of different woods for knife scales. But that's another thing that I really like to get into is my own stabilization, because I'd like to stabilize my own wood. That way you can use just more wood and you know for sure. So stabilizing is you're taking your wood and you're putting it in a tub of resin, and then you're putting a vacuum on it. So it's pulling out all the air from the wood and replacing that air, all those spaces inside the wood, with resin. You take it out and you bake it, and it turns it into basically a block of wood and resin combined, and no spaces for air. So you don't get any water cannon. They become waterproof. They become much more stable, which is why it's called stabilizing. If you want to look at some cool stabilizing, Brian House from Housework, he's doing some stabilizing right now. He's been doing some Instagram live or Instagram videos and some YouTube story videos, things like that, talking about his new stabilizing process, and that's something I want to get into as well. So that might make it into a new video in the not too distant future. Is Janka hardness scale. The Janka hardness scale, right? Let's see. Hardness, where? Tom Simons. CH53 from my landscape painting just flew over. I'm surprised you heard that, Tom. I didn't know if I could hear it, but I wasn't sure if you guys could hear that. If you could pick it up, yeah, there's definitely a helicopter just flew by. If you guys haven't checked out Tom's page, Turbo Simons, he does a really awesome job. He's doing these beautiful drawings every single day, almost every day, doing live streams. Check him out. He and I just did the collaboration, which is our last video that we put out, which was two artists painting from the same landscape. I did traditional mediums, I did oil painting, and he did a digital painting at home. It was super fun. We both painted for 2 hours at the same time, and he live streamed the whole time. Go check out that video. It was really fun to do, and it's a really interesting look at what I'm classically trained to do. I went to grad school got my master's in painting, and you know, spent tons and tons of time doing landscape painting. I love landscape painting. I love oil paint. So it was nice to get back out and include that a little bit into this channel. The whole reason why we named the channel The Art of Craftsmanship was because I feel like being an artist is in what you do for your craft, or what you do, how well you do what you do as being an artist, and like expressing yourself. So, you know, hanging an axe on a handle, doing it really well, cleaning it up, making it look pretty, and the shapes are nice, everything's clean, everything's hung really well, you present it, that's a piece of artwork, I believe, because there's artwork in craftsmanship. So if you do something really well and you try and you put your hardest into it and you express yourself that way, that's art. So art is craft and vice versa. I believe that. All right, guys, well, it has been fun. It's really nice to go through my project bench and see what's there. It's nice to see that stuff again and know what I can work on, get excited about these things again, think about new projects. And I know that there's been a bunch of people who've asked about axe making videos and restoration videos. So we are going to be doing some axes in the near future. So definitely keep your eye out for them. Let's see. John Clares, thanks so much. P. Monasco. Let's see. When will the next one be? The next live stream? Probably next week. I'm thinking it would be fun to do a live stream each week, just because we're here. I might not wait till the weekend. I might do it sometime during the week, but I will try to do a tease for those at least a day before. So we knew we'd be doing it. I talked to my brother and we were going to be doing this one today, so I teased it yesterday. I always try to do that. If I know for sure, I'll tease it a day before if I can. If I don't, I'll try to at least tease it sometime before on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on YouTube. So I'll try to tease those as much as I can before I do it. Just to let you guys know it's happening. There's so many people are doing live streams right now, and it's super fun to watch them. But I just see them pop up in my subscriptions of like, it's already happened and it's live. Like Jimmy DeResta did a live stream, which was really cool. Adam Savage from Tested, he's been doing live streams, but I never know when they're happening. I'd love to see them. I'd love to go and participate, but I don't know exactly until it's too late. So I try to tease you guys to let you know, try to tease the videos to let you know when they're happening. If you really like knife making, check out Jason Knight. He's been doing live streams on Saturdays. I thought we actually might overlap with our live streams today, but I don't think so. Maybe. But he's been doing Saturday night live streams. So Jason Knight on Saturdays. Those are super fun. So definitely check them out. John Clark, it's like our favorite Saturday morning show. I know. I agree 100%. I love the live streams. All right. So I think I'm done. I have this set up. It's ready to go. Cleaned up somewhat so. I'll be using this table. I'm going to be building some type of dust collection system underneath here. I sent some information to Brian House about something that he was working on for his. He's making a table in his shop, and I kind of gave him the suggestion of a dust collection system that you could pull drawers out that would be able to collect your dust. So I might do something really similar to that. That's what I'm thinking. So we can actually keep this shop back below it, and I'll probably adjust these things. I got to do some other stuff back here, but for now, I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining us, and it's been fun hanging out. I know I didn't interact so much with everybody today, but I just want to kind of show you and go through my stuff and get all this project stuff off of this table and go through it and kind of talk about axes. I love axes. I love talking about axes. I could do it all day long. So thank you guys. It's been fun. And again, if you're interested in seeing another live stream in the future, I will definitely tease that before I have them. So look for one next week and look for a few more videos coming out in the near future. Thanks so much. It's been fun.